Good morning and welcome to Merrifield's Gardening Advisor. We're so glad you could join us this morning. Stay here with me, Peg.
Okay.
If we could pull back, I just want to say hello and introduce Peg Beer. I'm Debbie Kapp, Peg Beer, and we are here with you today on Merrifield's Gardening Advisor, and we have a wonderful show for you today. It's close to the holidays. If you haven't got your decorating done, or if you have and you just need to add a little bit, you've got some great ideas for us this morning.
Well, yes, I do. And decorating is such fun. And a lot of people save the fresh greens, particularly inside the house, for toward the end, you know, although they last for a long time. And mantles are always something that we decorate.
Right.
And so I really am going to stand up, step back to our mantle here on our fresh new
our mantle
set. Because
imagine we have a roaring fireplace here, right?
Well,
roaring fire.
Yeah, well, right. Got the fire going here, la-di-da. And I'm loving this new set. I hope you are too. But let's say you've got a lovely picture over your mantle, which you don't want to move. Or you've got a beautiful mirror. I noticed last week with Diane's decorating here that there were some interesting metal trees. We have so many interesting things at the garden centers. I say the girls, the men too, okay, the guys and girls have done an incredible job setting up at all three places, and just walking through can help stimulate your imagination. But I really was intrigued with the fact that these trees totally picked up the feeling of the picture. And so you might look for something that might do that for you if you've got a picture there. I love the color pickup also, and think about that because it's important. You've got the red and the barn, and this repeats it. It's fantastic. Okay, here's another hint for you, and we will have a couple of pictures in a few minutes that will help to emphasize that. If you have a fire going, certainly if you're inside, over the mantle garland, that's a good place for artificials because the fresh dry out very quickly. I enjoy the artificial garlands inside, either on the staircase or the mantle, and then I enjoy the fresh outside. If you are putting greens on the mantle itself, you can do that in containers with wet oasis where they will not dry out. But Deb, gonna throw it back to you because I know we've got some things going on you want to talk about, and then after that I'll show you some pictures of what I'm talking about.
Sure thing, Peg. We sure do. We have a lot going on. And Peggy's got a lot more to tell you about later on well, not too much later on in the show, pretty quickly, after I give you a few quick announcements. Wanted to mention our holiday hours at Merrifield Garden Center through the holiday season are Monday through Saturday from 8 a.m. to 9 p.m. and Sundays from 9 a.m. to 7 p.m. So we've got plenty of time to come in and see all the beautiful decorations and everything we have at Merrifield Garden Center. If you haven't gotten your tree yet, I was noticing we got a fresh shipment of trees in, cut Christmas trees, and they are just beautiful. They smell so wonderful. We've also got artificial trees and, of course, live trees if you'd like to make a tradition of buying using a live tree in the house during the holidays and then planting it out in the garden. So that's a wonderful thing to do. So while you're there, be sure to see Santa. Santa has been a tradition at Merrifield Garden Center for many, many years, and you can go to our website, merrifieldgardencenter.com, and you can see all of the schedules for all three stores to see Santa. So don't miss a visit to Santa Claus. While you're there, be sure to pick up one of our calendars for the new year. It's filled with beautiful pictures, our beautiful pictures, and gardening tips. So don't forget about that. While you're there, register to win tickets. We do our drawings for Merrifield gift cards, for Redskins, Wizards, Capitals tickets, and events and concerts. So great opportunity. No purchase necessary. Got to be 21, but every time you're in, register. And we've got our seminars coming up. We've finished our fall series of seminars. Our winter seminars will begin in mid-January. So if you're not on our mailing list or our email mailing list already, please go to our website and sign up. It's a great tool to use. The people in our mailing list will be receiving the physical copy in the mail probably in a couple weeks, and then we'll be sending out e-blasts with great information. So lots going on at Merrifield Garden Center and lots going on in the show today.
Absolutely, with all those last-minute things. And speaking of last-minute things, we were talking about the mantle behind us and using accessories on it and the intrigue of coordinating them with whatever you might have behind it. But I from the past, pulled up a couple of pictures, and in this one, there's actually 3 low containers on this mantle, and it is just massed with fresh magnolia and other greens. Some of it, the Cryptomeria, Crypsea, there's grayish colored. We have the most beautiful greens this year, and they have been conditioned, and they will hold up for a very long time. And so I think putting those 3 containers on your mantle and massing it with these greens is fine. Now, if you have something to show off on that mantle, then lessen the amount of greens that you put into it, okay? And in this particular picture, is a good opportunity if you want to feature something else in between your arrangements. I tried something different on this year. I put the 2 arrangements on either end and chose, I believe it was Cotoneaster, Debbie, but it could be any other evergreen that weeps out over it so it carries that look down, okay? But it's all in wet oasis, so it won't dry out. The only thing you have to do with oasis is add water to the top of it. If you've got, for instance, one of the little trees, that's a block of oasis. Add the water from the top. I take it to my kitchen sink to do that. And preferably, I use warm water often to do this. But keeping those things watered is so important. So that's a suggestion for mantles.
Okay, there you go. That's just one area of your house.
That's right.
We've got, when we come back from this break, we've got more areas of your house to cover. So stay tuned. Welcome back to Merrifield's Gardening Advisor. We talked about the mantelpiece, or pieces, depending on what you're using. And so now Peggy's at our virtual garden, or our virtual front door, I should say. You've got some more great ideas.
Yes, we did. We talked about mantles because those are important in our decorating for the holidays. But doorways are maybe even more important because that's what greets you as you come and go, and that's what greets your guests, and it needs to be beautiful, okay? I want to talk about, though, some of the differences first in the wreaths that we have. We have had some incredibly beautiful and still do. This particular wreath from the past, again, happens to be artificial. And the only way that you could enjoy that kind of wreath on your front door at this time of the year is if it's on a porch. And so this is the type of wreath that would be gorgeous over that mantle in conjunction with the fresh greens because it won't go dry and it's protected, okay? So let's stage the artificial over the mantle or inside. Now, let's talk about going to the fresh greens. There is here a garland roping that is over the door and draping down. Now, if you want to emphasize the corners of your door, that is really easy. Once you have attached your garland, then you can go back up into the corners, and with stems of magnolia or other greens, you can wire those onto your garland and then attach the bow. And it can be something very simple that drapes down, or it can be a larger bow. I have repeated bows to show you how they can be used effectively. So you can buy that typical garland, put it up, and then improve upon it just by wiring a few pieces in at the corners. Don't forget that part of that entrance and part of that winter beauty, not just holiday beauty, is plants in containers that will go through the winter. And boxwood is notorious for being winter hardy in a container. And so there's one on either side of this step. But I do want to step back from this and tell you this is something interesting that you can do also. Bird baths. Yes, you want to have water out for the birds and maybe even a heater in it. But this one has an arrangement done in it by the front door. Well, let's roll on through some of these pictures because we just want to give a good idea. This is a very contemporary look. And it has two containers sitting by the front door and just some big stems of the birch branches here. Birch branches are very interesting. Your smaller pieces can be used in arrangements. They can be used for the Yule log, I suppose. And then grapevine strung over the top and down. And again, go to the trees and pick out some interesting things that would be winter hardy. Let's go through to the next one. Here, this is my own front door, okay, a couple of years ago. I have the fresh custom wreaths that the guys make at the garden center with a tremendous mix of greens. The house is sort of a gold color, and so I like to include a lot of the golden chamaecyparis in this. It not only does it pick up the color of the siding, it also emphasizes the color against the dark door. And then I have the mixed garland coming down from that. I used and a fresh tree by the front door that's decorated. We really learned to enjoy that. I tried the LED lights 3 or 4 years ago and I love them. I got away from just the clear lights and went back to, in some areas, the multicolor, and I'm enjoying it. Let's continue with this. Another time, rather than the Christmas tree, again, I brought in the bird bath, put blocks of oasis into the bird bath, and added fresh greens and the Christmas balls mounted on sticks and going into the oasis. I always think about accessorizing. I go to the statuary section and find the most interesting things. Here, they're wonderful little angels in groupings with greens around them. And I always use the gazing balls, and I have several on the front porch, and it just ties in the color. It reflects, and I love those too. So they make good gifts also. Let's go to the next one, please. Fresh greens on the door. If you have window boxes, or if you have over-the-rail boxes, or even if you don't, a freestanding container, you can, in this case, it's planted up with little evergreens. There's juniper. It'll go through the winter, cascading out. There's little evergreens in the back that could be any number of several things. You could also push pieces into that container if you don't want to plant it up. I think in the next picture, actually it shows you just using fresh greens. And this happens to be a freestanding container. But this can be done in any containers that you may still have on your deck or elsewhere in the garden. You can moisten that soil if it isn't frozen. You can put containers with oasis in it, or not even worry about it, because if it's outside and it's cold, these greens are going to hold up well anyway. Pushing in the magnolia. I love magnolia, and there's really large-leaved ones. There's bracken brown, that's a mid-sized leaf, and then you can go down to the little gem, which is just delightful for arrangements. But there's quite a mixture of greens just pushed into that oasis, and then a nice big bow that's on it. And it just says Christmas, and it's so easy to do. You don't have to worry about, oh, I'm good at arranging. It doesn't matter. Just push those greens into that container and enjoy it. They're so fragrant. They're so wonderful. And after Christmas, maybe you want to take the bow away and let it continue because it'll look lovely for a long time. So that's a few more thoughts on your front door and maybe out onto your deck. We'll come back in a few minutes and we have other thoughts too. Wreaths for the front door, fresh greens on the front door. Greet your guests with a custom wreath. I just love the ones that we are making, and they hold up not just through the holidays, but I've left them on for a month or two afterwards and they still hold up well because they're conditioned. This one is made of the fresh berries. It's the Ilex verticillata, and they're beautiful. They're long-stemmed ones that you can put into vases. Just love this. You can make your own if you have a wire form and wire them on, but oh my, these are just gorgeous. I want to talk to you today. We were talking about the wreaths and showed you how I'd used some in the past. I want to talk to you about doing arrangements that might be a little different and dare to be different. I've brought in a couple of arrangements that really aren't finished, and I did that to show you the mechanics, trying occasionally to do something a little different. There are stems pushed into here that give you height, so it has to be something that you can have that's tall. I have used an angel as an accent. Now you're saying, how did I mechanically put her in there? Fortunately, she has a hole in the bottom and I put her on a stem, so she's quite secure. Now, if she didn't and you wanted to do something like that, you could sit her in place on the Oasis and then put the greens in. Now, if we can come back to that close-up that you just had, I'm going to turn this arrangement around. I'm going to remove, actually, so that you can see well, the one magnolia. Okay, I have in this container Oasis. It will be wet when I put the fresh greens in. I put the tall stems in place first. Then I just wove a few grapevines into a wreath and pinned that down securely. I used sod pins to pin it down and stabilized it by wiring the top to those sturdy stems. I've left this Oasis high so that I can add a few fresh greens. Let's turn it back. Then I actually used a few artificials. Yes, in my book, it's okay to mix some of the artificials with the fresh. You can certainly use amaryllis and some of the real flowers, but they're short-lived and you'd have to replace them. So, okay, we've got these things in place. What am I going to do about that? With my wonderful Velcro pruners that I cannot be without, I'm going to reach over and I'm going to remove some of those bottom stems and add some greens into this arrangement. Putting one into place. Now, I cannot see what I'm doing, only you can, and so let's don't be too critical of this at the moment. Besides which, all you want is just for it to be beautiful, okay? I'm going to add a little more green. Before I do that, look at that. This is bracken brown. Absolutely gorgeous magnolia with the brown leaf, and I love to be able to see some of that brown. Let's add some of that right in, and look how pretty that picks up the color of the grapevine also. Let's keep going with some of this. You can get too much, yes, but I don't think we're going to do that right now. Let's add another piece right into here, and it's on an angle, and that's why I put the Oasis above the top of that container. Okay, let's add something that's a little different. I really do. I've got this wonderful stash of greens back here. I'm going to cut a longer piece, And again, removing the bottom pieces of this, I think that I'm going to come back in here and add something with a little height. I don't want to get too busy with this, but I will continue again to add more of the greens in this side. Perhaps you would enjoy having some gold in this. I'm just showing you the different things that you could use. I don't want to destroy the look of the wreath that is there, but what would happen if we just tucked that beautiful gold into place right there and not knock off what we've got in the front, for pity's sake. And then let's come down with just one more piece at the moment, and perhaps put that piece right into here to distribute. Maybe we need another gold piece over here. Hopefully you'll think, okay, that's not complicated. Here again, without breaking this angel, which I'm going to take off so I don't take that chance, sit that down and bring up another thought. Debbie, I know it's a stretch for you, but can you take that, darling?
Yep.
Okay, let's bring up another one. Again, using stems. As I've told you in past shows, stems are so popular this year. Just stems. We've got beautiful birch branches. You can spray them white, you can spray them gold, you can do a gold silver thing, just in a vase. This one, I loved this white vase. It likewise is filled with oasis. And as we turn this, these again are artificial magnolia. They could be fresh flowers. And rising up from this, there's tall branches that have been sprayed white. But let's hold it right there for the moment. Let's put in again just a few fresh greens. And I'm going to use, I use magnolia lavishly at this time of the year. And so let's use it lavishly right now, okay? Can't get along without the Philco pruners. If you don't have them, you gotta have them. Commercial break here, okay? Look at that beautiful brown. Let's come into the back with just how simple. There's really not very many pieces that have to be put into that, and it doesn't have to be complicated. I might only use magnolia. Let's add another piece right into this section, okay? So that goes down into there. This isn't going to be perfect, but I want you to see how I do this. Now you could put another little piece of magnolia over here, or you could, if you wanted to, add a different texture. If you use some of the spruce, again, I'm going to bring up another thing that I can't be without, and that's my Joyce chins, and trim those needles away. You could put that into place over here, okay? I'm not going to add that right now. There are lots of blues that can be used that give it a textural difference here. There's another beautiful piece, okay, that could be put in there that adds another dimension with 2 or 3 pieces. And hopefully that will actually give you a thought and an idea. I'll reach across the set and say that it's wonderful also to have this little gem magnolia if you're doing a smaller arrangement. The texture is still there, the broad leaf is still there, but it isn't as large, and you can easily have that come down over the top or over the top of the container, which is kind of pleasant too when you combine the two. Now, the last thing that I do is always accessorize. And I love the angels. I love the feeling of the angels being around at Christmas time. And this one is much too big to put into that container, but let's accessorize with it. We've got a slight pickup of the white in the white container, which is always good. So we will be back in a moment, and we'll talk more about the wonderful things you can do for Christmas to decorate your home.
candles that look so real.
That
that
really
you saw in the bump shot.
They're
Yeah.
so safe.
Yeah, they are.
Ooh.
They are.
I'm very leery of candles. I want them to be safe because I can get a little absent-minded when I've
Can't we all?
got
That's for
guests,
sure.
you know?
Right.
And I really don't want to burn the house down. And so be sure if you do that that you secure your candles. Burn them behind glass or use this kind of thing, or be aware, because if you leave one burning even in a fresh arrangement, you've got to watch it. You know, just
Right.
be careful.
Right.
Have a safe
Absolutely.
Christmas.
Now, in our next segment, we're going to take your phone calls, so be ready for that. But we've got several more things to share first.
Yeah, here again, if we bring up the next picture, I'll show you some of the other things. If you know the mechanics behind arranging it, so much easier. I guess I'll share with you one other thing, but actually you can't see it terribly well. There is a tree, a cut, fresh tree, either boxwood or a mixture of things, that is done with a full block of wet oasis, and we have some beautiful ones there. There's also other ideas for decorating something that looks for the birds and that sort of thing, over the windows even. And in the next picture, we show how interesting it can be to use flowers inside that aren't necessarily fresh. Here, I've done it in a clear glass. That's another trend. Not only are the
It is big this year,
branches,
yeah.
it's really big this year. You can, with dry things, and that's why I did that one.
Right.
It's a tall cylinder that I have fragrant, spicy
Right.
things that smell good
Oh, yeah.
inside.
That's fun, too.
And then I have the artificials with, again, stems coming up out of it.
And
Stems are very...
it's all a mix, which is great. Like you said, you can mix
Right.
fresh and artificial.
And another use for some of the, and inexpensive too, this is one that has a wreath, oasis wreath on the top of the glass, and a candle sitting in the center. And again, I feel that these pillar candles are safe to burn too, if you watch them. And then you can put something interesting in the glass underneath, okay? And in the following picture is a kissing bowl. It's a fresh kissing bowl inside the house. You may want to take it to the kitchen sink every 2 or 3 days and add some water, let it drain off, and put it back in place. And it's done in oasis, in a round ball of oasis that is hung with sturdy wires, and it's just beautiful. In the following picture, guess what? It's the icing on the cake.
Oh, yes.
And over the rail box, fresh greens that have artificial fruits put on picks into it. Very interesting. And if you come back to the desk, Debbie is holding one, again, that we've done custom made, and it is a form that the guys have put together with their little pedal machines. It's fun to watch them work. Come in and see them do this. But turning it sideways, look how interesting that is. The magnolia turns so that you see the green and you see the brown. You've got the solid green behind it. You've got those winterberry, Ilex verticillata, also included to give you the red. You've got the beautiful gold of the Chamaecyparis. It hardly needs a bow. But if you did put a bow, and I think this one's going to cascade down away from me, whatever, you know. Here. No, it's here. Maybe you only want something really, really simple. When you have greens that are this beautiful, you may want to have just something simple with a tiny bow here. Love the red that picks up the red berries. You might also put a big bow right here. Now, if we put that aside, Deb, let's talk about how you could do it yourself. This is done on a custom frame that's really sturdy. But you could bend clothes hangers, one this way, attach them securely, and bind your greens to those, okay? Take a little effort, but you can do that. And then stage a bow on top. Or, here again, there's so many Oasis products.
Oh, I know.
This is very secure in a box. Wet, you can push those greens into here. Make it as small or as large as you wish. Put one on one side, one on the other side, bow in the center. What else can you do with this piece of oasis? You can wet it and actually use it at the bottom of a staircase with a spray of greens coming out from it, and it will stay fresh and green. So many uses for this.
And the candle ring, you were talking about candles a little earlier before we go to break, if you want to show
absolutely.
that.
This is a candle adapter. This is a piece of oasis that I have taped into here with a candle. It goes into a candlestick.
What a great tool.
You push your greens into that wet oasis. You can put your candle in this area, and it's wonderful.
It is. Ah.
Just wonderful. So those are just some of the mechanics that help you make this use of fresh greens to keep them fresh.
Right.
And it's wonderful.
And don't forget, Peggy, you were down there at the table every day during the week. During the week. During the week.
Well, I'm in and out.
Yeah, right.
But
But
you can always
you
ask
can
for
stop
me.
in and ask questions. See everybody creating down there. We have so many talented people putting these together. So.
We do, and it's fantastic because Teresa, who's been helping us part-time downstairs, I think this is fun. Teresa is down this morning with her children helping to lay those wreaths
That's
that
great.
Arlington. What a
wow.
wonderful teaching experience for your children.
Right.
Yeah.
When we come back, we're going to take your phone calls, 703-387-1046. So give us a call. Hey, welcome back to Merrifield's Gardening Advisors. We're at the phone call portion of the show. So if you have any questions, give us a call, 703-387-1046. And Peg, our good friend Richard from Colesville is calling in, I understand. Hi, Richard.
Good morning, Debbie.
How are you?
Fine, thank you. First of all, I want to say that you, your associates, Peggy and David, etc., have just put on a year of wonderful experience.
Aw. Thank you so
Thank you,
much.
Richard. That's very encouraging.
That means the world. It really does. Thank you.
Years old, but I've learned a lot from your show.
That's
And
great.
question for this morning. I have a Norfolk Island pine in the bay window, and it's overgrown. Somebody said I cannot prune it. Can I, Peggy?
You know, I've never pruned that. I don't grow those inside. I've heard that too, but that is a great question for one of our greenhouse specialists. Call the Fair Oaks location, ask for Shirley, and talk about the ability to prune or not prune that. I do not think that you can, but I am not going to hold myself to that because my experience with the indoor plants is nowhere near where it is with the outside. I have a few and have had them off and on through the years and know enough about them to be dangerous. So I don't want to be dangerous, Richard. Okay?
Okay.
Richard, thank you so much for
Call
the
and talk to the absolute greenhouse person that's had a whole lot more experience. And thank you for your compliments. And I feel sure, and I hope you're very genuine about that. I do have people who do come up to me, and maybe it's even in the grocery store, and apologize for saying things like that. But it's very rewarding because it tells me that we're doing something well and that it's working. And it's very encouraging. So please don't stop.
Richard, you have a wonderful holiday. So nice to hear from you, dear.
For
Take
each
care.
season of the year, you've just been right on time, and I appreciate it so much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Richard.
Bye-bye. Okay, our next caller is Shirley, who's calling from Alexandria. Hi, Shirley.
Hi.
How are
Hello,
you?
hello.
I'm doing fine. How are you girls doing?
We're doing good.
Well,
you sound nice
Shirley.
and peppy this morning.
Oh, yeah. My coffee in the morning with a teaspoon of chocolate
There you go.
Oh, wow, that's a good one.
and a little whipped cream.
Ooh, sounds
Wow.
yummy. I think she's having dessert for her
Sounds
morning
good.
coffee. What's your question this morning?
Yes, I have a poinsettia that I had gotten last year, and I've been babying it. My son has gotten paperwork from his computer on how to take care of it, and where yellow leaves come, I take them off. But my question is, will it bloom red this year? It doesn't look like it. But I'm wondering how to continue to take care of it.
Well, at this point, as far as Christmas is concerned, you've missed it with the red, so you best come in and buy another one that's going to give you that Christmas red. In that process, which is a little complicated or a little time-consuming, it involves literally putting that plant in a closet where it gets no light for periods for several days or nights, as the choice might be.
Right.
You know.
It's several weeks. It takes several weeks.
It takes
Yes.
a while, and it's too late for you now. You're not going to get the red out of that at this point in the game. So go back to your little computer thing. If not, call us to get the exact number of days and the exact number of hours, but I know that is required. And while you're there,
from the
buy
pot
yourself
and
another
put it
red
in the
poinsettia. Okay, Shirley.
I'm sorry, what did you say, Shirley?
I took it from its pot and put it in a larger one.
Okay,
That's good.
That's fine, but what it needs right now, if you want to get red on it, and it won't happen by Christmas, is a period of darkness every night religiously, okay? I'm not sure.
We've
there are not
actually
many
got-
people that like to go through that.
I know. I think we have a sheet.
We do,
At
yes.
the garden center. So if
That
you want to
you
call
can
in,
pick
they
up.
could probably email it to you or that
Right.
type of thing.
be good.
That tells you how how long it needs.
How long.
What you need to do back and forth. So.
Absolutely. So, good luck. Have wonderful holidays, Shirley, and thank you for calling, honey.
Thanks so much. Take care. Okay, let's see. Jetty, I believe it is calling from Hyattsville. Is that correct?
That's correct.
How are you?
I'm good.
Good, good. And you have a poinsettia question as well?
Yes, I do. My husband gave me a beautiful poinsettia for Christmas, and it's about knee high, and I love it to death, but I don't know how to take care of it.
And
I want to see if I can keep it alive as long as I can.
Right. Taking care of that poinsettia is very important if you want it to last for a while. One of the first things you need to check is if it came in foil. That foil is attractive, but it will hold water when you're watering that poinsettia, and it may accumulate in the bottom and literally keep it too wet and rot the root system. So one of the first things you want to do, if you're going to leave foil around it, is to put a hole in the bottom of that so that water won't settle in there, which means you've got to have a saucer beneath it that will hold the water. One other thing that I do suggest, if you do that sort of thing, to protect furniture, which I love to stage the poinsettias, sometimes on pieces of furniture, we have cork boards in the greenhouse that come in various sizes. That's a safe thing to put underneath something, whether it's a vase with water in it or a plant with water in it, to keep any condensation off your furniture and take care of it. Okay, the next thing is, it doesn't want to be in a dark corner if you are going to try to keep it going for several weeks. It needs some good light. But when you water this, and you need to check it every day, depending upon the size. Now, with the size of yours, it may not need it as often. Check for moisture. If it's beginning to dry out, you need to water it very carefully. If it's too big to take to the kitchen sink, you need to water it very carefully so that that root ball is moist, and you may want to pour the excess out of the saucer. And then don't water it again until you know by feeling it that it's drying out again. Basically, water. Doesn't matter whether it's outside or inside. Water is the key to survival for plants, okay? Hopefully that will help you, Jetty, and I hope you enjoy that poinsettia in good health.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Take care. We're going to take a quick break and come back with more of your phone calls. Close up you were seeing of that beautiful pine cone wreath behind us there. Isn't that gorgeous?
I've made quite a few of those in my time.
Yes.
I don't think I'll be making a complete one anytime soon. It is a lot of work.
It is a lot of work.
But it lasts forever. But what I do, I wire the pine cones on a heavy duty wire. It's usually 16 or 18 gauge wire. And then cut it with wire cutters and put those into my arrangements, and they're really beautiful. They're beautiful natural. You can spray them with Design Master glitter. In fact, you can spray your entire fresh arrangement with that, and it gives it a little bit of a sheen and helps to seal off and keep the
Very
moisture
nice,
in.
yes.
But you can also spray them gold or spray them silver.
So
and
nice.
by the way, if you happen to use magnolia inside, I'll never forget the year we did it at your mom and dad's. And we had used a magnificent magnolia garland down the staircase. Well, it dried out because it was fresh. But you know, I took it outside and just sprayed the leaves with a mixture of gold and silver, which gave it was magnificent. But I avoided spraying the back because it's brown, and it was magnificent. Your mother put that away in the attic, and we used it again the next year. It was fresh magnolia. Can you believe that?
That's great.
It was wonderful.
We have a few minutes left in the show. If you have any questions, give us a call, 703-387-1046. Hopefully we'll get you on. Look at this gorgeous.
I really do want to emphasize this. What is Christmas all about? About the Nativity, and including this. And I've been so pleased, and the others have too. I just happened to be at Michelle's with her family, have really used that Advent wreath every day. And what a wonderful teaching tool it is, in addition to the beauty of doing it. For your children. Include the children in your Christmas. Let them make some arrangements. You know, let them do. My grandchildren did this year. I just said, do what you want to do.
That's right. Go
but
to it.
Look how beautiful that. This is Fontanini, a set that I've had for many years, and realizing that I didn't have one that I'd brought from the garden center, I grabbed these out of my crutch on my way out this morning, because I have quite a collection of them over the years, and they are collectibles. But look how beautiful that is. When in water, please.
That's right.
Even staged with some lovely greens. But yes, we need to remember in all our hustle and bustle that we need to enjoy what we're doing with decorating. We need to include our children, include our family, and include the real reason for Christmas.
Right. You know, I just realized we are just about out of time, so we're not going to be able to take any more phone calls. I apologize. So we've got about a minute left. Anything you want to...
Yes, go to the tree. Go to the tree for some of your fun things. I literally, among the greens, these ornaments are not just for trees. They are for decorating elsewhere.
Right.
And they're often beautiful just in a container with some greens mixed, or laying down as a centerpiece down the center of your table with some low greens in oasis.
Right.
Okay, don't let them dry out. So go to the trees. Even though a lot of wonderful things have been purchased, there's still a lot of beautiful things there. So it gives you some great ideas.
Absolutely.
You know?
Yep. So come on
and
in.
the
And
weather
visit.
seems to be okay.
That's right.
So I should be back at Fair Oaks.
There you go. Okay. Yes, definitely do come by. Say hello. Next week, David will be with us. You and me and David will all be here. It'll be kind of our wrap up, some last minute decorating, some great last minute gift ideas. So we hope you will join us for that. And do stop by as you're in the store. As I mentioned before, we've got these great giveaways that we do several times, and it's lots of fun.
Better chances than the lottery.
That's right. That's right. You could win some great tickets. Have a wonderful week, and we will see you next week.